Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second charming talk. My name is Sultan Çetin Öztürk. I'm a PhD researcher at the Delft University of Technology. Together with my colleague Peter Hogeberg from AFL, we are organizing these webinar series to discuss circular economy implementation in the social housing sector. Today we are hosting two speakers. Before getting started, I guess Peter has something to share.
I have.
Yeah.
I want to invite you to the UK Inspiration Days. They're going to be organized by our charm partner, Accord Housing Association. At this moment, you can see the program of all sessions in the week of the 14th until the 18th of September. You're all invited. It's an online, free to attend event, and it is themed around their plastic-free houses. We talked about it in our first charm session. But today we are going to talk about circularity as well, because charm is all about optimizing the use and the reuse of materials and natural resources. Therefore, we have invited Joost Jacobi from MetroPolder and Juliette Mardon from Paris Habitat, from Paris. And first of all, I want to say in general, if you have any questions, you can ask them by the chat function, because Joost and Juliette, they have about 5 minutes, 6 minutes for the presentation, and then we have about 5 minutes for the Q&A. And Joost is going to start. And to introduce Joost, he is from MetroPolder. And we asked him in advance, why is water important as a resource? And what solutions has MetroPolder to offer? And how do you address circularity with the MetroPolder solutions? Well, exciting. Joost, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Peter. Let's share my presentation. Is this all clear? Thank you very much, Sultan, Peter, for this invitation, and happy to see that Paris Habitat is joining as well. And I'm happy to share what we do as MetroPolder company. As it states here in the title, we actually do harvest urban rainwater. But why and how, I will be happy to explain to you in a minute. First, in general, we all know that we are facing climate change, which results in more floodings due to peak showers, longer periods of drought, and the heat island effect in the city, and which these three features have in common is actually the element of water. Well, here a nice picture of the Netherlands. We're famous of the windmills and to keep the polder dry and keep the water level straight. And that's actually what we do as MetroPolder, but then on city level. I'm happy to explain you what we do with our technology by an example. Here we see a building, could be a housing corporation building with a surface area of 1,000 square meters. And there's a requirement for green of about 50% and water storage requirement of 60 millimeters. Like 60 millimeters is like really heavy shower. And you should be able to capture that on your own terrain. So conventionally what you do, we like to use the flat surface for solar panels, as this is a smart investment. Part of it can be a rooftop. But you have to create something to buffer your rainwater, to store it. This can be done in a basement, and you release the water at a moment when there's no pressure on the sewer system. But then there's longer periods of drought, and then still you need to irrigate your green, and then you have to make use of drinking water, which is actually a waste. So that's when the Dutch fly in with a new technology, and we invented the polder roof. How does it work? of course, we put it on a flat roof, and the roof should be waterproof. Should be able to maintain the water for a longer period of time. Then we have the buffer crates. Here we can buffer like 70 millimeters of water, and on top of that you can put your green roof or a roof garden or your solar panels as you like. But what is smart of this polder roof is the smart valve actually, which anticipates on the weather forecast, which I will show you in a minute. But here the smart valve is connected to a dashboard, so from your office or from your desktop you're able to actually have a look on what's happening on your roof, able to manage the water level as well, or you put it on automation mode. Back to the example, so if you put a polder roof, you're able to buffer the 60 millimeters actually on top of your roof, and in periods of drought you can use the water actually to garden your rooftop or irrigate your garden. And then it anticipates on the weather forecast. So when there's still water in your polder roof, but there is rain forecasted in 2 hours, then you're able to release your water at a moment when there's no pressure on the sewer system, and you create new buffer capacity on your polder roof to capture this rainfall. I'll show you some pictures. This is a picture in office building in Amsterdam. Here it's still under construction. So here the black is the buffer crates where you retain your water up to 70 millimeters. And here it's finished up in your really nice roof garden. I show you this picture in The Hague as we have a closer look at the smart valve. We call it actually the smart drop due to its shape. This is full with sensors and regulates the water level. Another feature, we combine it with the polder roof with solar panels. Research has shown that due to the cooling effect, you have actually an increase of 6% of your energy performance of your solar panels, which is of course a benefit. Back to the city, like if we talk about climate adaptation, the question is, what can we do in the city, and especially where? As 5% of the city consists of water systems, 45% is about public space, but 50% is private space. So it's really important to get these private parties involved in your climate adaptation strategy. And therefore it's also important to get the social housing corporations involved, as they, in most cases, have property in the city for about like 30 or 40% even. So what we do in Amsterdam at the moment, this is called the Resilia project. On the website you'll find more information, but we do research there with different universities. But more important, we work together with social housing corporations to implement like 10,000 square meters of polder roofs. And with this project, the idea is to really be an example for other cities in Europe as well. I think this is my last slide, and this is not less important, of course, the business case. There's the benefits of the polder roof in the sense of reduces floods during heavy rainfall. You have a cooling effect of your building, so reducing air conditioning power needed, reduces the heat island effect in the city, increase of biodiversity, and as mentioned, increase of your solar panel performances. But out of these five, three are very important for the municipality itself as well. So what you can say actually as a housing corporation towards the municipality is that, okay, we all face problems with regard to climate change, but we as a social housing corporation, we do have part of the solution, which is we have a lot of space which can be used, but we need your support to actually come along together with us and make these climate adaptation measures all together. So I think that's in a nutshell what I wanted to share. If there's time left at the end, I can show you maybe a small video of the cooling effect, but for now, I think I'm just in time or even over time a little bit.
I think we have a couple of more minutes for him. If the video is not really too long, we can actually take
it's 30 seconds.
Let's go for it.
Okay, this is a polder roof in the TU Delft University campus, where we do urban farming actually. And this same roof you will see in the next video, which is an infrared video, which shows temperature differences of two different similar roofs, but the one is with polder roof and the other one without. So the camera in a minute goes down, and when it's, you see here, when it's really yellowish, it's pretty hot. So this roof is about like 45 degrees.
Wow.
And the same kind of roof is what we saw just now, is the polder roof, which is far less hot, so to speak. So this shows pretty nicely the cooling effect of a polder roof due to its evaporation.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was also one of my questions. Is it a proven system? But you proved it already by the video.
Yeah, well, with regard to the cooling effect, yeah, this is, I think, a nice proof. Yeah.
Well, actually, I have two really like quick questions. The first one is, do you face any kind of problems with the awareness? What do you think?
Awareness
are you
of.
aware of the water scarcity problem?
I think there was a lack of awareness, but this increases even here in the Netherlands, where we think we have a lot of sufficient sweet water, but we encounter longer periods of drought, especially in the east of the Netherlands. And at the same time, it's at city level, there is more awareness about floodings during heavy showers, and this is increasing. So I'm not so much afraid there is not enough awareness. If it's not there yet, then it will come in the short term, for sure.
And my second question is about the little, actually, the mill on the roof that you showed on one of the picture.
Yeah.
Do you put in all roofs, or is this just
this was our
function?
No, it's just a funny feature to show, like, okay, this is a Dutch company, and the windmills, actually how they work. We showed it works on small scale, but then on roofs. This was our first version. Our improved version, we call it Smart Drop. That was the one you saw in The Hague. It's easier in production, so to speak, and it's an improved version. But yeah, on request we can deliver windmills as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Are there any other questions from the guests? You can
also like a technical question, like the polder roof. Isn't it sometimes too heavy to carry for the roof? Because we sometimes have we identify a roof, for example, for urban agriculture, and then we realize that we cannot make the project because it's too heavy.
Yeah. Very good question. And actually, indeed, this is the first thing we check with our customers as well. The carrying capacity of your building should be sufficient. In most cases, what we see is that buildings with concrete rooftops and built after 1960s, in most cases, are sufficient to carry this load. But indeed, we talk about a bit less than 200 kilograms per square meter. So this is a request at the front, indeed. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Joost.
Thank you very
much. Let's go to Juliette. Juliette, ça va?
We can't hear you.
Sorry.
No problem.
That's after.
It's all live.
Ça va et toi, Peter?
Très bien, merci. And I have to say as well that we are recording this webinar and we will share this webinar online. Yeah. And now we're going to ask Juliette from Paris Habitat a couple of questions. We asked her the following 3 questions in advance. What is the role of Paris Habitat in the city of Paris? And what is the main circularity goal for your organization? And can you give us an update on your demonstration examples?
Thank you, Peter. So yeah, I'm connected under Isabelle's session, but my name is Juliette Mardon. I'm from Paris Habitat, so a public social housing company for the city of Paris. So I work for the Sustainable Housing Department, and I'm going to talk to you about the circularity in Paris Habitat, and also about the Charm project, as we are a partner. So Paris Habitat is a social housing company. It's actually the first public social housing company in France. We are closely related to the city of Paris. We are the main operator to develop and manage social housing in the city. We have a really diverse housing stock as we work like since 100 years with the city. So we actually have buildings from the 16th century to really recent buildings, as we also do new constructions. Now we have about 125,000 dwellings. We also have shops, car parks, and green areas. So the main challenge in the city, as you may know, Paris is like a very dense urban area. So the challenge is to produce new social dwellings, which is a priority for the city of Paris. But currently we have like a really very light increase of the housing stock. We do more renovation. For example, a building in average is 74-year-old in our building stock. So the renovation is really a priority. So circular economy appears really as a huge opportunity, as renovation involve a lot of waste and material that we can potentially reuse. So we've been committed to sustainable development. We have since 2005, we have our own sustainable development charter. We also commit with the city of Paris. So our operation, construction, renovation, and demolition answer to the climate plan requirements. We also signed a more ambitious charter. So like the Paris Climate Charter signed in 2018. So we have goals in this charter about bio-geo-based materials, but also circular economy. And that's actually what we focus on because like the context is really important now. There was a law in February about circular economy. And now, for example, resource diagnosis is mandatory. So for us, it's really a priority. We already did a few experiments, for example, with the city of Paris and Saint-Gobain. We gave them windows and they were experimenting how to recycle flat glass. We might also renew these experiments. We also were a part of the Democles project by Resilum. So it was to recycle waste from demolition. And now we're a part of Charms project. So in Charms project, we really focus on reusing the materials. And for this, we have a few demonstration sites. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about them all, but let's say we have 6 demonstration sites. We try to have like a representative panel of our housing stock. So we selected different type of buildings, different like work program. So we have like buildings, typical workers buildings with red bricks. We also have a building from the 60s before a barrack, and we also have a house. So we have like from light renovation to deep renovation to transformation. And we wanted really to have this panel to experiment a methodology, because like the main goal after Charms project is really to systematize material reusing on every operation. So for that, like I cannot talk to you about all the demonstration sites, but I want to do a focus on Stro and Caserne, which are 2 different sites. So one of them, Stro, is like was built in 1920. It's like a typical worker building, and Caserne is so Caserne, a barrack, who's going to be transformed into social dwellings. So 2 different sites, but we have actually the 2 same architects working on the project. So Stro, we are renovating 121 dwellings, also activity premises. We identified the materials to reuse. So we really think for us it is key to, like the resource diagnosis is really key and the role of the architect as well, to experiment and to work with new stakeholders. So we identified the materials to be reused. Like you have the list here, but like luminaires, toilets, wash basins, so windows, hot water storage, etc. And we wanted to do an experimentation. So the architect actually worked with Paris Habitat carpenters. We have a few carpenters here, and they took wooden doors from Strauss. Like you have on the right, it's sink furniture, and on the left, it's actually a cupboard to hide the water boiler. So this is an experimentation, and it's actually really interesting because it's also help us to acquire new skills within Paris Habitat, because it was made by Paris Habitat employees with the architects. And then another site, Caserne Exelmans, so same architect, but it's completely different. So before it was a barrack, and then the city of Paris gave the site to Paris Habitat 2 years ago. And currently, so it is temporarily occupied before the work starts. So the works are about renewing family dwellings and also creating specific dwellings. So we are going to create a housing and stabilization center, a transition house, a mother and child protection center, and also offices. So we did the resource diagnosis, and the works might start in like 2 years, a bit less. A bit less. And so now the NGO Aurore is occupying the site. And what is really interesting, is that the residents are migrants, asylum seekers, and it's really interesting because they also created this hall that you can see, this wooden hall. It's made by reused materials and hemp concrete. So it was built by the residents with the reused materials in order to be easily dismountable. So because then when the work starts, we're gonna just dismount this and renew and renovate the site. So yeah, it was just to show you that these two different sites, to show you that like material reusing is possible on different buildings, on like different sites with different works program, and at every phase of the project with different stakeholders. So feel free to ask any question. This is my last slide, but feel free to ask questions about the sites or other things.
Thank you very much, Juliette. Well, actually, I wonder how you include tenants in the processes, and what are their impact on when you, for instance, reuse, for instance, doors as a furniture. Do they accept to have secondary materials in their homes?
It's a huge work to do, because true that the main obstacle for us sometimes is that they're not really gonna accept it because they're gonna think that it's like a lower quality. But Xavier Brunkel, so the architect on both sides, really takes a lot of time for consultation, and really see with every family, every dwellings, because like communication is key, and that's everything that we have to tell them, that we experiment this and you don't have to worry, it's not going to be like a lower quality. So yes, for us, like the role of the architect is really key, because he's the one who's going to tell the tenants not to worry about that. And yeah.
Yeah, I see. We can't hear you.
Peter is speaking, but we can't hear you.
Unmute yourself.
Sorry. And the role of the municipality of Paris, what is their role?
So actually, like they give us the building to renew them, and then to create new social housing. Because like our role is to create new social housing, because now like the demand is so high that sometimes they give us like since 100 years buildings to renew to house new tenants.
And they're more supportive in legislation maybe as well, so they provide you a smooth way of operating.
Yes, sorry, I'm not sure I understood the question.
It's also that the parent municipality is supporting you in getting it built and getting it done by giving the regular.
Yeah, of course they support us, but now we have like, we're real big housing companies, so we have like our housing departments with our own like expertise, and so we are really autonomous on this. Like we're a huge department.
I think Ad has a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering for this, let's say, major housing shortage, you would expect that there is a lot of emphasis on speed, on to shorten the building process, the construction process, and in that way, probably circularity is not that important because probably it costs a lot of time, etc. But that's not the case. There's still a lot of circularity is important.
Yeah, of course it is important for us, but of course, like we experiment, but for now we don't do it on every operations, because of course it takes time. But like we consider, like we think that in a few years it won't take that much time. It will be fully integrated in every operation. But true that now we cannot do this on every operations. The sustainable housing departments, we're like supporting the project managers so their projects is more sustainable. So we include more circular economy of the materials, for example. But we are not big enough to do this on every project for now. But then the goal is that everyone in the housing department acquire these skills to do it by themselves.
Yeah, Jos, please
Yes.
ask your question.
Thank you, Juliette, for your presentation. And I think it's very interesting to hear from a MetroPolder perspective that you mentioned there's a focus on renovation. And for us, in most cases, this is the moment to jump in and reconsider, okay, what you want to do on your rooftop. You also mentioned the Paris climate plan. And well, I was wondering, I don't know the Paris climate plan, but would a polder roof fit in such a plan? And do you know if there is additional funds available as well from municipality or other grants so that you actually can adapt some climate adaptation measures?
Yeah, I really think actually it really fits to the climate plan. About the subvention, I'm not really sure, but what is sure is that I think the roofs in Paris, like they're not always appropriate for this, but it will be worth it to try. Because I'm telling you this because we're working as well on urban agriculture, and sometimes, yeah, it's complicated to identify roofs, flat roof with enough capacity to carry this these heights. So I think it would be worth it to identify a few roofs, but it won't. I think the typology is maybe like super different than in the Netherlands. So, but it should be interesting to try.
Yeah, I think, well, I would propose maybe that we have a meeting, a Teams meeting or whatever, Zoom meeting.
Yeah, of course.
Short term to elaborate a bit more on this and do an inventory of.
Yes, perfect.
Nice.
That would be a pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, great.
It's good that, our guests are connecting. So
synergies, yes.
So yeah, we are pretty much done. If there are no further questions, I think we're done.
It's time.
Yeah. It's time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on time. I'm quite proud of it.
Well done.
Thank you very much for being here. We'll prepare the video and post on YouTube channel so you can share with your network. Yeah, thanks again. Do you have anything to add, Peter?
No, I want to thank Joost and Juliette for their presentations and everybody who is involved right now. And we'll see you next time. And Charming Talks number 3. And look at our website for more information.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.